Welcome to Nomad Media, Automotive Tales, where we tell vehicle stories, a little bit of history, and some unique and personal experiences. Let's get right into it. So welcome back. My name is Brian Evers, and today we're actually going to be discussing my own personal 1970 Dodge Charger 500. So a little bit about this car. 500 was originally made to compete in NASCAR, and so that was in '69, and that was part of the 500 cars to be built for the entry into NASCAR, so that you could actually race in the race. Now, when it comes to 70 Charger 500s, though, 70 Charger 500 was a trim level. So you had the base, which is obviously a base model Charger, a 500, which was a middle tier, and then you had the RT, which was the upper high performance model. So I get that quite often, where people aren't really sure that this is a real 500, because the 500 made for NASCAR didn't have sails in the back windshield. They had a flat black back glass. Some other things on this car. So let's move right on into the stories with this car. So it's got a pretty good history on it. I know in 1980, the original owner, so it's a 3-owner car, the original owner had an accident in it on the B-pillar and crushed the B-pillar. Well, in the 80s, he had that repaired at a shop, and it was on the passenger side in the rear. And when he had it repaired, he had the vinyl top that was originally on this car removed. So this is a triple green car originally. It was a green vinyl top, F8 green paint, and green interior. When he had that removed, it probably saved the car, in all honesty. This car, as of right now, is assumed to be unrestored. The previous owner had told me that he believes the paint from the seam line down is original paint, which is pretty impressive for a 53-year-old car. We know the roof has been repainted, because when you remove a vinyl top, you have to repaint the roof. Also, during the time in the 80s, when the original owner had that accident, he decided to make this car a show car, and he'd take it to car shows and things like that, and that's about all he drove it. Originally, when he did that, he made this plaque, this show plaque, that originally had the miles on it from that time. At that time, the car had 46,000 original miles on it when he parked it. And by park it, I mean he drove it around to car shows, and that was it. The second owner, when I bought it from the second owner, the impressive thing about it is, on the mileage part, is I bought it with 46,500 miles. Now, that first owner, he lived in Ohio. The second owner lived in Texas. And the second owner drove it from Ohio to Texas when he bought it, meaning that those 500 miles that were put on it were likely from that one drive. So that's pretty impressive. Currently, it's sitting around 52,000 and a half. I drive the car pretty regularly, and I put a lot of miles on it because I have a lot of fun with it. But yeah, that's the story of the mileage of the car. Mileage is pretty cool. It's an unrestored car. Obviously, you can see the wheels and the brakes and everything. I did that myself after I bought the car, just to upgrade a little bit on it. As for original brakes, original wheels, still have all that stuff. I have the original things like the steering wheel, radiator, fan shroud, things like that are upgraded on this car still as well. So I think it could pretty easily be returned to a stock car if I really wanted to, but that's not my goal right now. And so another story with this car. The day I bought the car, obviously I bought it out of Texas, and when I went to pick it up, I'm that guy that kind of copied a few of the other YouTubers on you buy a car and you drive it home. Now, when I say copy them, honestly, I've never thought of myself as copying them, because I kind of already did this to begin with. But the day I bought this car, I drove it from Texas to Alabama. And in a 53-year-old car, it's not really the smartest thing to do if you don't know how to work on cars. But I had prepared for it. I knew what I needed to do. I had belts and took things like that with me that I assumed would probably break, or maybe have not been maintenance and things properly. But you know, I ended up not needing the belts. I didn't make it all the way home though, so this isn't a triumphant story, but it's a little bit of fun. With it, you know. I actually made it to Mississippi, smack dab in the middle of Mississippi. If you've ever heard of a place called Forest, Mississippi, where I broke down on the very last gas stop that I had to make it all the way home to Alabama, and so I didn't make it all the way down. I broke down in Mississippi, and I had to call a buddy to come pick me up with his trailer. The only reason I had to call a buddy to pick me up was because what ended up breaking on it was the starter went out on me, and it was an original starter, but the starter had went out on me, and the closest starter from where I was at was 2 hours away in Mobile, Alabama. I believe it was in Mobile, Alabama, and to replace the one that I currently had on it. And as you can see, it's a pretty nice car, and you know, not many people see them out on the road and stuff, much less broke down. And I wasn't willing to leave the car alone for 4 hours when I had just bought it. So I didn't make it all the way home. I had to get it trailered home. Other notable things with the car, that's kind of it for the stories. I've only owned the car about 2 years now. Bought it on July 4th, 2021. So Independence Day, American, you know, all that. And proud to be an American, but it doesn't have many more stories other than that. Most recently, I bought the car, personally I bought the car to take it to car shows and things, and I've been enjoying it thoroughly. But the most recent car show that I've been to of note, I went to the Birmingham World of Wheels in 2023, and I was first in class. The car was judged against 2 other vehicles in the class that I was in, and those 2 were a 72 Chevelle and a 70 Nova, and this car was judged the best out of all 3 of them. But I think that's going to do it for the stories on this car for right now. So yeah, thanks for joining me today, guys. This is a short one on my own car, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.
Car show, okay?
All right, guys, that's going to do it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure you like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.